internet friends, Tama here. Today I'm going to show you all of my Animal Crossing towns from every Animal Crossing game. I appreciate your patience while I work on the next video essay. I have like a 26-page bibliography. I'm researching a lot of stuff, and this is in prelude to the Heart Gold Soul Silver video that will come after it. I have really appreciated that you guys have been so receptive to these unscripted, long-form videos that I've been making in the meantime, each month, so that I'm uploading something while the other stuff can cook a little bit longer. And today I'm going to just show you all of my Animal Crossing towns. So Animal Crossing is a very personal game, at least for me, but I imagine it is for a lot of people, because it's basically a social simulator that was designed intentionally to soothe the feelings of loneliness and alienation, which a lot of people have experienced with at one point or another in their life. This is the Wikipedia page for Animal Crossing. I'm not digging super deep and showing you this. It was directed by Katsuya Eguchi. Now, Katsuya Eguchi has talked about their work on Animal Crossing, and this is from their Wikipedia page. Let me read this to you. Eguchi is credited with the creation of the Animal Crossing series. Mental Floss is the source for this information, and they said that Animal Crossing was inspired by Eguchi's experiences when he was a 21-year-old graduate who'd taken up the divisive step of moving from Chiba, where he'd grown up and studied, to Nintendo's headquarters in Kyoto. And in addition, Eguchi wanted to recreate the feeling of being alone in a new town, away from friends and family. In an interview with Edge, Eguchi described the beginnings of Animal Crossing, and these are Eguchi's words. Animal Crossing features 3 themes: family, friendship, and community. But the reason I wanted to investigate them was as a result of being so lonely when I arrived in Kyoto. Chiba is east of Tokyo and quite a distance from Kyoto, and when I moved there I left my family and friends behind. In doing so, I realized that being close to them, being able to spend time with them, talk to them, play with them, was such a great, important thing. I wondered for a long time if there would be a way to recreate that feeling, and that was the impetus behind the original Animal Crossing on the GameCube. And in an interview with Gama Sutra, he described the game's role in a family like this. Another thing is that I'd always get home really late, and my family plays games, and would sometimes be playing when I got home. And I thought to myself, they're playing games and I'm playing games, but we're not really doing it together. It would be nice to have a play experience where even though we're not playing at the same time, we're still sharing things together. So this was something that the kids could play after school and I could play when I got home at night, and I could kind of be part of what they were doing while I wasn't around. And at the same time, they could get to see the things that I've been doing. It was kind of a desire to create a space where my family and I could interact more even if we weren't playing together. So Animal Crossing comes from kind of a personal place to begin with for Eguchi, and his experiences with moving away from his hometown and not being able to spend as much time with his family. When I was growing up, I was very lonely, and my reasons are different than Eguchi's. So I'll try to only disclose what is absolutely necessary here to give you my personal backstory with the game, but I feel like maybe this is going to be relatable to some people, even though not everyone grew up exactly the same way I did. Animal Crossing has played a role in many people's lives that could be similar to the role that it played in mine. I will try to keep it together, but I have a lot of feelings about video games, and Wild World is really near and dear to my heart. So we're actually going to be starting with Wild World today. I considered doing them in chronological order of release. Wild World was my first Animal Crossing game, and it came into my life at a time when I really needed it. So I've talked a little bit about Wild World's gameplay before in an essay that I made several years ago, the only Animal Crossing essay that I have ever made so far. I was very positive on Wild World in that video because it has the best villager interactions in the series. It has a hobby system so that each of the villagers in the game can be distinct from each other in addition to their unique personalities. So there's like the main personalities in any Animal Crossing game. There's Jock, Snooty, Grumpy, Peppy, Normal. I think I said Grumpy. I think it's Cranky. And Lazy. Lazy is the last one. The villagers are distinct from each other within those categories, but then on top of that, in Wild World, they will also have hobbies. So a Peppy that's obsessed with catching bugs and a Peppy that's obsessed with catching fish will have different interactions with you and feel distinct. And on top of that, the villagers within Wild World have relationships to each other. Because the town in Wild World is quite small, the odds of having multiple villagers in an acre at once and interacting with each other was quite high. So you could see them have conversations with each other, which you couldn't really do in the GameCube version. And they would gossip about each other and have different relationships with each other in your town. So it really did have this super community feel, I think even more so than the original GameCube game, which matches what Iguchi was explaining about what inspired him to create the game. For me, Animal Crossing was kind of how I survived a very difficult period of my life, because it was designed to take the place of a community that you were missing. So I've often jokingly said in various videos that I was a loser who didn't have any friends growing up, and that's kind of an oversimplification. So I've talked in past videos about my difficult childhood. I did not have a close relationship with my family, and I did not get very much support from them as a young kid. So I was lonely at home, and then I also had trouble connecting to people at school. So I was a very quiet kid, I was shy, but then when I wasn't quiet, I also was super annoying probably because I only wanted to talk about my interests. So I wasn't super easy for other people to make friends with. Like any kid growing up, there's ups and downs, and you deal with bullies or you deal with people who don't like you. Because of the difficulty that I was also having at home, I basically checked out and decided never to learn to cope with that as a child, and just started avoiding people altogether. So in elementary school, I had some friends that I had from Girl Scouts and just that I knew from school, but I would never get placed in the same classes as them because I had a learning disability and I really struggled with school. And they all were placed in accelerated programs and really excelled in school and academics. And I found that as I got older, in middle school, that wedge sort of became a bigger hurdle to try and cross with people, because middle school focuses a lot on high school prep and the gap widens between kids who struggle with school and kids who do well at it, basically. They would also be very competitive with each other and talk about their scores on tests, and I just felt like I couldn't contribute to that because I was barely passing my classes. So I started eating my lunch in the library instead of hanging out with people. And that was actually where I found gaming magazines for the first time, because I had never read any growing up. Before that point, they had Game Informer, and sometimes they had issues of Nintendo Power. And that was how I found out about Animal Crossing. It was in the DS era in 2005. Wild World was brand new, and it was mentioned in one of these magazines. And then I went out and got it because it looked really cute and fun and creative, and so I picked it up at GameStop. So I really didn't have a lot of friends in school, except for this one girl named Annie. I met her in 7th grade, and I honestly cannot even really remember how I met her, which is funny because I remember so many little details about so many things, but not this. But Annie was the perfect person for me to be friends with, because she was very excitable and loud and outgoing and talkative, and I was quiet, and that made friendship with her super easy. She was my best friend. She was a peppy villager. So all I had to do was just listen to her talk and laugh at what she said, and sometimes ask questions, and that made it just super easy to get to know her. Unfortunately, her mom enrolled her in a private school going into high school. So we would no longer be going to the same school, and I wouldn't get to see her as much. But she also had Animal Crossing Wild World, and she lived one neighborhood away from me. So every weekend I would walk to her house with my game, and we would exchange fruit and villagers and play together and write each other letters and leave each other notes on our bulletin boards and our Wild World towns, just like Iguchi described, where we wouldn't be able to see each other in person very often, but we could still play together throughout the week, and it made high school, which was otherwise a very lonely time for me, much more tolerable. It was how I survived being so lonely during the school week, because my best friend wasn't there at school with me anymore, and I struggled making new friends. I think Wild World is really unique in this way, where, going forward, letter writing and emphasis on your villagers moving from game to game and talking about their activities with your friends to you and their relationships in their old towns and things like that really sort of was de-emphasized after Wild World. But that feature was my favorite because it was really like getting to play with my friends, even though we couldn't be together. In high school, I also had a long distance relationship with a boy I met on the internet. We met in person after we had dated for like 8 months, but we would only get to see each other once every few months because he lived in a different state from me. And it was really hard to have a long distance relationship in high school, especially when I didn't have any other support or friendship that I had on a daily basis. I got him a copy of Wild World from GameStop used. It would be just like with Annie, where we would only see each other in person every once in a while, but we would play Animal Crossing together. And then we would also do this over Wi-Fi because of the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. I actually got him a copy from GameStop that didn't have box art, like it was just in a generic blank case. So I drew a custom box art for his game that had our villagers on it. He had Static in his town and I had Goldie in mine. And then this was the back. I copied the blurb from the back of my official Animal Crossing game, this one. And I drew Egbert, Yuka, and Dottie, who sort of had like a little love triangle between all of our villagers because they would move back and forth between our towns so much. Because the point of Animal Crossing existing at all was to sort of give you a community, a home away from home, full of people, full of social experiences. It really helped me through a very lonely part of my life. It's very emotional for me to return to for that reason. My villagers were there for me when nobody else was, and they helped me stay connected to people who I did care about. And the few people who I did have in my life. So it's so emotional for me to talk about and return to because it's one of my favorite games of all time, but it's kind of bittersweet because the loneliness that I felt back then the game helped me with was painful to go through. And so I'm reminded of how much it hurt and how much I really needed this game. Thankfully, now in my daily life, I'm not lonely like I was as a teenager. I have a wonderful husband and friends here that are in my life, you know, outside of video games. So thankfully, I don't need Wild World the way I used to, but it makes it difficult to revisit. Villagers really filled the social need that I had at one point in my life, and I think it would like literally break my heart into tiny pieces if I find out some of my old villagers moved away. I think that would like literally break my heart. So I'm nervous to do this, and I'm already tearing up, but I have Wild World here, and I'm going to show you my old town. So I got back into this game when I moved to Las Vegas for my senior year of high school as well. So it literally was like moving to a new town where I didn't know anybody. I was so homesick. So this is my town from that period of time in my life, and it's named Pumpkin, which is sort of an homage to my hometown. Oh, I'm so nervous. I don't want to boot it up and see that anyone's moved out. So I haven't played this since 2020 when I needed to sort of play it to write that script. And at that point, no one had moved out. All of my villagers are cats. I'm a cat person. My favorite is Mitzi. My other favorite is not in this town. That's Bunny. And Bunny is my favorite because me and Annie used to pass her back and forth. Apparently, I just turned the game off last time without saving, so we get to be greeted by Rossetti right off the bat. I do miss Rossetti. They've really dumbed him down. Modern games. Brutal. Brutal. Where is the exclamation point? There it is. Oh my god! Well, it's hard to get emotional when I'm being berated. Let's see if he accepts this. Okay, now he's happy. God. Jesus Christ, I swear to God, I'm never gonna turn the game off without saving ever again. I was certain, I guess, the last time I played that I would never play this again, so. Oh, today's the bug off. Today is also, by the way, a community day in Pokemon Go. So I am missing that to make this video. Okay, now here's the part I really don't want. I don't want to find out someone moved. Okay, let's get our mail. There's gonna be a letter from somebody who moved out. All right, my house is still fabulous. Oh, maybe nobody moved. I don't have any goodbye letters. Okay, we have to check the map now. I don't remember Freckles. Spooky, Kiki, Chow, Frigga. Mitzi's still here! Mitzi! I'm guessing some cats moved because these are not all cats, but Kabuki, Kiki, and Mitzi are still here. Mitzi was like my best friend because I also played this after my cat died. My life was traumatic. Well, here's my house. Shall I show you around my house? Yes, it is full of roaches, but it's really cute otherwise. So I'll give you a bird's eye view so you can see my decor. The HRA loves this place. You can see I got pictures of all of my best friends from my childhood. I had this town probably from, I don't know. I'm gonna guess that this town was probably started in 2009. And I cycled through so many villagers, and I had a rule every single time that I had to get their picture before they were allowed to leave. So I would play every single day, and whenever anyone wanted to move that I hadn't gotten their picture yet, I would beg them to stay. So I guess in this room, I have organized the pictures by color frame, so you can see that only brown frames are in this room. This is my living room. What's my town tune, I wonder? Okay, it's do mi so mi fa la do la do. I was very proud of myself for figuring out how to translate that into Animal Crossing notes. This is my bathroom, and it has pictures of more guys in it. There's Yuka, the infamous Yuka from that picture I drew. And there's Apollo. I think I got Apollo from Vidit, actually. I think Vidit cheated to get Apollo, or maybe it was one of Annie's friends that cheated to get Apollo, because we had an Apollo that was like basically female because of like improper action replay codes that only changed the model and name to Apollo and overwrote a female character. Here's my trophy from winning the bug off, or probably the fishing contest for the bathroom, huh? Kill all the roaches in my kitchen. So this is my kitchen, isn't it cute? This one has all blue picture frames in it. I can't even see whose pictures these are. I would have to rotate the table. Looks like it's Coach and a sheep. And this is my character's study, I guess. And it has pictures of all the dogs. So they've got, here's Butch, who I talked about in my essay. He's watching me. Next to KK Slider. I don't remember how I got KK's pick. I think it's part of a quest that you do to get the golden axe in this game. Here is Punchy, who, although I got his picture, I hated Punchy because I must have gifted him a fake painting at some point. He did that thing where they're like, hey, I'm gonna give you something, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I'm just gonna tell you how much it costs. So here's this painting, do you want it? And of course I bought it back and it was the fake painting I gave him, which is really on me, but I felt like he tricked me. And then also he would cheat at fishing contests all the time. His hobby was fishing, so he would always ask me to go catch him something and then race me to it. Like, I would already have the fish in my inventory, right? So technically I was cheating, but I would give it to him and he'd be like, no, I already caught one, loser. And I'd be like, that's impossible. That's impossible, Punchy. And here's Mitzi, who is like my heart, my soul, my everything. And Mitzi, we gotta see her house because I bet it's totally empty. But she would constantly throw out her furniture like all Wild World villagers do. And she would throw out her bed. And I hated the idea of her sleeping on the floor so much. I still gotta show you upstairs. I hated the idea of her sleeping on the floor so much. I would always buy her a new bed. I would order her a blue bed from Nook's catalog and send it back to her. And she'd always throw it away. My boyfriend at the time joked that it was because she is a cat and she wanted to curl up at the foot of my bed. And I thought that was so endearing. So I love Mitzi. There's some pictures that are inaccessible, so I don't know who everybody is. I guess I never got all the cat pictures, despite my insistence on never letting anybody move. You can kind of tell that I was sort of in my bohemian era from my house decor. So my town is probably just a mess because I haven't been playing. So it's full of weeds and stuff, but I have one of every fruit because Annie, she was a dancer, so she had dance lessons, and some of the girls in her dance class also played the game. So they got all of the fruit that we were missing, and Annie would trade fruit with them to get all the fruit, and then I would get all the fruit from her. Shall we look at my patterns? So it looks like I have some styles here. Little outfits that I designed. Yeah, this is all very 2011 fashion. Here are all the outfits on the mannequin, so you can kind of see what they look like. And of course, I did a thing where I chatted with the Able sisters to get their full story. Warms my heart. I forgot to check my storage. Maybe we could change our outfit to something a little less wintry because it's July. Okay, so I put all of my hybrids in storage. That was smart of me. I protected them all so that I would still have all of my hybrids, even though I knew I was going to not play for a while. And I collected teddy bears. Oh, there's the bunny hood, the blue ribbon, the halo. I'm feeling the halo. Should we put the halo on? Let's put some stuff away. I don't even know if I wanted all of this stuff that's in my inventory right now. The halo and the star shirt. Let's do that. I have all the golden tools, as you can see. That looks cute. We'll do that. Now, I believe there is some way to check and see what all I'm missing from here. But I have a couple, I'm missing quite a few paintings still. It was hard to get paintings in this game because Red only visited once a week. It was harder to tell what was fake back then, I think. Yeah, so I guess I never did complete my museum here, despite playing for a very long time after the game came out. Like, I was still playing this like 5+ years after the game was released because I love this game so much. I think to know if I have everything in the museum, I would have to check like my fish and bugs list, see if I'm missing anything. Oh, I have them all. So I completed this. I know that I had them all because I would donate the first time I ever caught anything new. And then, let's see, fish. Am I missing any fish? I'm missing a fish. I'm missing a single fish. I don't know if we're missing any fossils. So that's complete. That's complete. That's complete. That's complete. That's complete. Those are complete. We have all of those. No, I don't think I am missing anything. I think I have all the fossils here. So that's my museum. I'm really not missing. I'm missing one fish out of everything. I never caught that one last fish. Hello? We're wearing the same outfit. I'm gonna answer exactly in the middle. I just love the dialogue in this game compared to other Animal Crossings. Thanks for the red tile, Chow. Is this Chow's house right here? This is Chow's house. So there's nothing too crazy going on with the town that you can see here, but this town went through a lot of different eras, let's say. There was the time I got a perfect town, which I'll explain in a minute because it's actually kind of hard to get a perfect town in Wild World. It's a lot more work than it is now. And then I cut everything down and I did a few different themed towns, which I have one video of I can show you. This is Friga's house. Fortunately, Friga, I don't remember you too well. Pierce, the frame rate. There's Friga. Oh, they all have nicknames for me. I'll buy it. I am not hurting for bells. We'll do exactly in the middle again. This is my metagame. It backfired this time. Freckles a cat? Feel bad that I don't remember. This is Kabuki's house. It is. I remembered. I remembered where his house was. Let's visit Kabuki. He's moving. We have to stop him. Don't go. Oh no, he's leaving anyway. We're gonna talk to him again. Okay. I will take that as he's staying. That was a close one. Now we must see Mitzi and Coco. It's so important. It's Coco! It's bug off day, so no one is even, like, aware that I've been missing for years at this point. Well, we can't have a normal conversation because there's an event today. Where's Mitzi's house? Okay, Mitzi is right here. So imagine if my town had no weeds. It would be super cute, right? Look, she's got the bed I sent her. She didn't throw it away. Mitzi knows that I haven't been around. I love you, Mitzi. I'm so glad my heart didn't break on camera and Mitzi didn't move away because I would have actually just, like, burst out crying if she had moved. She kept her bed. I love Mitzi. Look at all these fish I caught for her. Is there anything else I need to show you? I suppose I could check my town hall and see if there's any letters saved, but that might just be like picking at an old scab, you know what I mean? That's Freckles. Freckles is not a cat. Let's see. Ruby is a cute name for a fish. Thank you, Freckles. So Goldie was in my town. So this is when Goldie moved to a different town and then sent me a letter from that town. I do not remember what Seifert was, whose town that was. So these are all the different people who have been in my town. You see, I have almost all of their pictures in my house. This is a letter that Butch gave me after he moved away to the same town as Goldie. That must have been my ex-boyfriend's town, but I didn't remember it being called that. Hippie, Static. Static is in my GameCube town. Yeah, he sent me mail from the same town. So that must have been his town. Mitzi. So Mitzi moved to my town from my ex-boyfriend's town. I'm not gonna read any of my ex-boyfriend's letters because that's just too weird. So the last thing I think that there is to show you in the actual town is this flag, which is a Game Boy. Was even in my retro kick 10 years ago, apparently. I think that's all there is to show you. I feel like I should take the time and weed it just for the villagers that are still gonna be here. But I feel good in my heart that we were able to visit everybody, that I don't feel like I have unfinished business here, that Mitzi loves me so much that she stayed and waited for me for so many years. I love Wild World. It's like going home. It's like my forever home is this game. You can't go back to your childhood bedroom. You can't sometimes even go back to your hometown the way that it was when you were growing up because things change. People move, places move, things never stay the same. There's always Animal Crossing. That'll always be here. I just love this game so much. I have a lot of feelings about video games, okay? Let's save and end, and then I'll show you some of the things that I used to do in this town because I have some videos of like my past town theme to show you, and I can show you where I got the inspiration for it and how I learned how to do it, and Animal Crossing community stuff because I used to post there. Maybe I can even find my old posts. That would be cool if the forums still exist. As I mentioned earlier, I did get a perfect town in Wild World, and that was not easy. I probably used this guide because I remember Thonky being like an old website, Animal Crossing Wild World stuff. So you need to maintain a perfect town in Wild World for 15 days, which means having the perfect number of trees and flowers distributed evenly throughout the town, picking all of your weeds, watering everything every day, and that's how you get a perfect town, and you have to maintain it for 15 days straight. So each town is divided up into 16 acres, and each acre is 16 by 16 squares. So the game is based on a grid, even though it's 3D. But like if you place down a pattern on the ground, it will take up 1 square. So I used patterns to figure out my 16 by 16 squares and planted exactly probably 12 to 15 trees in every acre. I don't know exactly how many are in each acre without counting it all out again, and flowers and stuff like that. It sounds like not that deep, but it was actually difficult to figure out because it's very tedious to count out your acres. So I apologize that this is in 480p. However, this is my old themed town. My water-themed town. I learned how to do this from this issue of Nintendo Power, issue 201 from March 2006. They had this article by Stephen Grimm who explained, there's a poster, how to make patterns, to like make themes for your town, to lay down patterns on the ground because you can drop patterns by dragging them to like the bottom half of the equip screen, if that makes sense. And I followed the guide to make this bubble pattern here and basically created exact town that these pictures illustrate here. This is a great article. Here is my execution of that town theme. You had to make a pattern dummy character because you only get so many pattern slots and you need more than that to make all the patterns you need. But I only made 1 additional pattern dummy, so I couldn't do some of the elaborate stuff from the article. So I'm going to have this muted for the sake of you not having to listen to my very high-pitched voice. You can see my extremely tan character because this was recorded in August of 2010. Yeah, I'm holding up my digital camera so you can see. God, I'm like really having a hard time holding it still. Okay, that's a little better. I didn't have a tripod, I guess, for this, so I'm just manually holding it and playing at the same time. But you can see I laid down and covered, I had to chop down so many trees to accomplish this, and it destroyed my perfect town rating, but it was okay because I already got the gold watering can. And I would have little islands for trees and flowers and stuff. And I guess my town flag at that point was a 1-up mushroom. This is nostalgic. We just visited my town, so you got to see this exact layout with a different look, I guess, weeds. And you can see that was Punchy. Punchy still lived here at this point. In 2010, I was in my junior year of high school. There's Butch. So this island I didn't do very much with because it was too difficult, but I guess I made this little thing. And it's sort of hard to customize stuff in Wild World because the pattern maker is really limited. So I'm quite proud of the fact that I managed to do this just using a Nintendo Power Guide. back in the day. I'm having the hardest time, I can tell, recording this. I wonder if we're gonna go inside my house, because I probably had a themed house to match. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's totally different. Look, my living room is completely different. It's not themed necessarily. And this is my, okay, this is my office before. It's more or less the same layout and furniture. I just changed the wallpaper. And there's fewer pictures in it at this point. This is my kitchen. It looks kind of the same, but it's quite different now. I changed quite a bit of the layout and the furniture. There's my bathroom. Also looks pretty different, I think. And I wonder what the bedroom looks like. I left on accident, as I always do. I did that when I showed you around my town, too. Oh, my bedroom looks totally different. This is like just the classic furniture set and only one picture. I like how it looks better now. So this is in 480p because this is like the max quality that I could record in back then. Yeah, is there anything else? I guess I show you my town tune. It's cute that Lily lives here at this point. She matches the theme. Those are my patterns. Oh, Goldie lives here. It's like the OG. Punchy, Dottie, Butch, Goldie, and Butch. This is like my quintessential group of villagers, I think. All I'm missing is Mitzi. And I guess I would probably put Bunny in instead of Dottie. Although I like Dottie. Bunny is like, reminds me of my friend. I have a bunny plush back there. Actually, I have more than one bunny plush. I got like, these are kind of rare now, but there was a set of talking Animal Crossing keychains that came out when the Wild World movie was released, and I have the bunny from that set as well. I'll turn the volume up so I can hear the town tune. Sound familiar? My Yoshi town tune at the time. So this is Animal Crossing Community. Well, okay, so I'm actually on the web archive version of this because it's now like wiki style. I'm gonna try and check out the archive version of the patterns because I wanted to show you what I used to do. Because they had a program where you could turn images into patterns and select a palette that fit it. And I would use that to do things like my town flag, which is a photorealistic picture of a Game Boy. But here's the create. I wonder if we can see the forums. The Wild World forums. I used to post here all the time for both trading and just chatting purposes. We're gonna have to make a new account. Okay, let's see if my old patterns are on here. They are! Look! Okay, this is a little embarrassing to see some of my old patterns. I did a Harry Potter Game Boy Advance game town theme. So I ripped textures from the game and made them patterns. I did a Tiny Kong tube top. And here are all my water patterns that I used to create that water town theme. I wonder if I can now find some of my old forum posts. Look! It's my town! This was my town tune, apparently. Okay, let's see my threads. I did a lot of trading. Punchy is such a jerk. Can we read this? Punchy's such a jerk. I have everybody's picture in my town except for Punchy and Lily. Lily I can understand because she was the last to move to my town, but Punchy, he moved in ages ago and I haven't treated him any differently than anyone else. My only explanation is he's trying to spite me. And yeah, here's the female Apollo. There's a female Apollo that just moved into my town. She speaks like Goldie or Lily. I'm not sure if they're the cute or normal type. She also has a ranch wall and floor in her house and a big teddy bear. So if we're going chronologically by how I played them, City Folk is technically next, but I really did not spend any significant amount of time in City Folk because I just really did not like the control scheme. And it came out while I was still playing Wild World, which was my true love and my house. I lived in Wild World. So I didn't make a new town. I didn't do the migration. I could not do that because I didn't want to change anything about my villagers or lose anything or lose the experience of playing it on the DS. So I didn't migrate my town to City Folk because you could do that. I just kept playing Wild World. I got City Folk and really didn't play it very much. So we'll get back to that one. The next in the order of the towns that I spent a significant amount of time in is actually New Leaf rather than City Folk. New Leaf came out later in my life. It came out when I was already an adult. I feel like New Leaf is most people's favorite Animal Crossing game because more people played New Leaf than Wild World. So a lot of people had no context for what villagers used to be like between the two games, or they're not different enough in obvious ways that they couldn't even really tell that there was a change. But for me, the villagers were my social life. The changes from Wild World to New Leaf were extremely obvious to me and kind of game ruining. Which is funny because if you compare New Leaf to New Horizons, New Leaf is way better. Like, I didn't even know how bad things are gonna get. I went back to it in my later 20s when I was kind of more established in life and I wasn't looking for a game to replace Wild World in my life. So let's take a look at my New Leaf town, Kombucha. I made this town just slightly before the Welcome to Amiibo update. This update came out at like an amazing time for me because I had already gotten back into the game and this was my second New Leaf town. My first one, I just really didn't have any attachment to, so I just started over. Thankfully, there's not going to be a lot of changes that I need to anticipate here because I have probably the town ordinance that keeps everything super nice, except, oh my god, my hair. I need to fix my hair. But this is my cute little house. It looks like I didn't update fully. And that was probably for aesthetic reasons. I'll show you my super cute house. And I did make some of my own patterns. So this is my living room with some holiday decor still. Probably a lot of people's New Leaf houses look a lot like mine. The Little Mermaid bathroom. And this is not all full of pictures. I probably have a showcase in my museum because they introduced that in this game. That's just full of people's pictures. I imagine that that's where they all are. I think my upstairs looks rather cute. It's kind of unique. I don't think that everyone's upstairs house looks like this. And I don't have all the rooms. I didn't update my house fully because I wanted it to stay this size. So yeah, that's my very specific house. And I'll go fix my hair because it's really bothering me. Because the pattern that I have on my head is actually like a unique pattern. It's a hat, which is how I have the horns, but it just doesn't look right unless I have my hair fixed. I don't think anybody could move. Chrissy, Shari, Francine, Rudy, Fauna, Mitzi, Nate, Blue Bear, Hopkins, Wendy. I think that this is still all the same. I think nobody has moved. So you can see my town is super, super cute. It's not particularly creative though. Gotta get my hair fixed. Oh, this is the wrong spot to do that. My town tune is Undertale, I just realized. It's very of its time, this town. This is very Tumblr, like the town. Especially with this hairstyle, with the hat with the horns. Feels very homestuck. I gotta remember, I have to look up like a hairstyle guide, 1 second. Good old jvgs.net. This is the one I used back in the day. I believe what I need is formal, business, fresh, and then a moody color. Yeah, there we go, that looks right. Okay, now my character looks cute. So let me take you on the tour. Like, I put a lot of work into this town. It's easier to customize than Wild World, but it still took like a very long time because I wanted to do it little by little legit. Like, I started from scratch and I did it day by day and like planted each individual tree and grew all these hybrids, and I worked very hard to make it just how I wanted it. So to begin with, this is my house. It's here next to this waterfall, which I think is very pretty. And then behind the house in this little secret patio area is a little chaise lounge. Very nice. And, oh, there's something buried here. A pitfall, evidently. And I believe you only get these flowers on Mother's and Father's Day. So I grew a lot of them and it took a very long time. Now, I'm positive that this yellow flower doesn't belong here, but I'm not gonna get all anal about it. So over here, there's just this little pathway that goes over here just to this perfect orange tree. And here is a nice little bench. I feel like I have to talk like this when I explain my town. And here is my wishing well. Feels like a Disney princess area over here. Down here is my neighbor's house. Who is this? Fauna. That's right. Fauna is not home. So nobody has moved. This is all exactly where it was. Here's a little clock area, like a little park with a clock just south of this little bell. And there's Fauna. She's so cute. She matches the vibe of this town. Yes, I am an indispensable part of kombucha because it's how New Leaf works. Nobody gets anything done if I'm not here. But you do keep it all nice if I'm not here, which is nice. So this is the coffee shop. I didn't really interact with the coffee shop in New Leaf that much. They made it very difficult. You have to learn every individual character's favorite orders. There's so many different things that they can ask for. Maybe it's not that hard and I'm overcomplicating it, but yeah, like every inch of this town is perfectly planned. A little fountain area. And this is Blue Bear's house. Blue Bear's house is where I'm growing more of my hybrids. I guess there's some other stuff here that I don't want, but I just won't bother fixing it right now. Blue Bear is not home. This is Nate's house here. Nate has orange flowers because he's a bear. And I think this is Francine's house. This is Francine's house. She's also not home. I waited for all of these individual clovers to grow in exactly where I wanted them to. I think that there's still some places where I wanted clovers that there aren't any. And down here is also where I was growing more hybrids. So this is sort of my garden beach. Good place to catch bugs down here. Yeah, very pretty. It gets really hard to actually find where stuff is buried. There is so little visible space on the floor in this town. So let's keep going over to this area. Here's Francine. 4 years. Yes, last time I played was in 2020 when I made that video. And this is my pattern dummy's house. She's got the My Melody stuff. And that's kind of it. Nothing fancy going on. And this is Hopkins. So this makes sense that everybody's houses are exactly where I left them. Hopkins is a blue bunny, I think. A lazy blue bunny. And this is Rudy's house here. So Rudy has his own garden with a little fountain, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. But Rudy is home. Let's visit Rudy. I think my goal for curating my villagers was to sort of go with the all vintage looking characters theme. So Rudy and Hopkins kind of look like vintage cartoon characters, and then you have the 2 polka dotted rabbits and the classic fawn. Here's an old bell just south of my tree. This is where you would wake up from a dream town visit, and I believe this little area was somebody's house. Somebody used to live here, but I don't remember. I guess they don't live here anymore. I think it was a different deer. So over here is the shopping area just north of Rudy's house. There's a little walkway next to all of my fruit trees here. This is Shari's house. I see is not home. That's my town flag. It's a kombucha logo that I made myself. I copied it off of a kombucha bottle. This is my town hall. It's the fairy tale theme, I think. That's Chrissy. And this is the campsite, but nobody's here right now. And there's a little bench near it. Oh, there's a balloon. I'm just not even gonna bother. There's Chrissy. There's a little pattern that is specifically a drain. And here's a wastebasket. Now, I found this really irritating, but the wastebasket actually deducts from your perfect town rating. Even though in my mind, it would make sense that if you had an appropriate place to throw away trash, your town would be cleaner and thereby more perfect. Here's a little picnic set. Here is the police station. And this is the path that leads just to the north of my house. And this is where Mitzi lives. We're gonna visit Mitzi again. Of course I have Mitzi in my town. I can't not have Mitzi. And she has a bed. Mira used to live right here. And I put a sheep down where she lived. But the house is like just slightly moved over. Like you can place patterns basically to force villagers to only live in certain acres, and they will try and avoid putting their houses down a new leaf on top of stuff that you're growing. Apparently I had never spoken to her before, so that's funny. But I do remember scanning the amiibo card for her. But she moved in just 1 square too far over. All of my orange hybrids got crushed, so that's annoying. Happy birthday to me! So, I believe there's more to show you. Oh, yeah, by the way, I don't think I showed you my windmill. Here's my windmill. And Bluebear's here. I have a moon here. I think you can force villagers to pay you excessive amounts of money. Where's the Able Sisters at? Oh yeah, it's north. That's right. If this town is really familiar to you, it's probably because I copied somebody from Tumblr. I wasn't doing this for content at the time. This was just for fun, but that's my disclaimer. So here are my patterns. I actually designed these outfits, more or less. I think I did not design this one. This is from Moonrise Kingdom. Apparently I did create it. And these are all based on, I don't remember if there's different skin tones in this game. That's sort of a missed opportunity. I wish that all of them had more character diversity options. It's a shame that none of your villagers wear your outfits in this one. So here's all the patterns that I used, at least on this character. There's more patterns on the other character. And then I swap out one outfit and I guess a hat. But I think I used tutorials to make a lot of these, actually. I didn't use somebody else's pattern, but I followed someone's tutorial to create them. For these, I definitely did use someone else's pattern. I wish I could check and see who the original author was. This was also following a tutorial, the horns hair. It looks like you have a braid in the back and you've got the bangs on the front. So it looks like your character just has horns, which is cute. I think I need to show you my museum because there's display areas in the museum. So first, I guess I can check to see if I'm missing anything. It looks like I have every bug. I have all of the diving. And that's every fish. So we'll check our fossils and we'll check our paintings and see if I'm missing anything. Would you believe it? I'm a completionist in Animal Crossing too. These all look complete. That looks complete. Renee is visiting my museum. Hello, Renee. Okay, so unsurprisingly, I think I have every fossil. There does not appear to be anything that I'm missing. That's nice. I think that this is my most complete Animal Crossing game then, despite playing it for less time than Wild World. I did a lot of trading online for stuff that I was missing in this one, so that might be why. I did trading in Wild World too, using those community forums that I showed you. Not as much as this game because the online support was just more seamless and there were more players in this one. So yeah, I think my museum is 100% complete. That's crazy. That's not that surprising though, knowing me. But I wanted to actually come in here and show you my museum exhibits, my curated exhibits. I actually don't remember what's in here, so that'll be fun to rediscover. World treasures. So here's all the Gulliver stuff in a museum exhibit. I used like the museum wallpaper and floor to make it look more museum-y. Here is my Hall of Heroes. Like, yeah, I thought that this was I needed a stand for this trophy. But this is all of my pictures of all of my friends through all of the years. Mitzi's not in here, so there's probably another exhibit with Mitzi in it. No title. Is there no exhibit here? Oh no, there is. This is the pirate ship stuff. The Pascal stuff. That's fun. Weird I didn't give it a title though. More photos. Okay, this is where Mitzi is. Unsurprising, yeah. I just needed more space because the other ones filled up. Yeah, I like Mira. Always help a friend in need. And then Mitzi. So next I'm trying to think what else I should show you. Probably what I've got in my storage. By the way, the sun is now setting. I get to see my town at night. There's an extra Sheldon's pick in here. Some of these are rare items, like the buffet server, for example, was a monthly Wi-Fi download item. This would have been from my first New Leaf save file, and then I traded it to a friend over Wi-Fi and then traded it back so that I could keep it and also still restart my town. And then the 24-hour shop stuff. So with the Welcome to Amiibo update, they had a few exclusive campsite visitors. Oh no, Nate is here. I guess I can't just run out. I like Nate. So as I was explaining, the 24-hour stuff came from an exclusive campsite visitor that you could get only from 7-Eleven, only in Japan. I think it also was available prior to that. I don't even remember how you would get it before then. I happened to get into this game in 2016, the year that Chaz, who was my boyfriend at the time and is now my husband, he was studying abroad in Japan that year. So we were long distance for about 6 months while he was studying abroad over there. He was there in Japan when they were doing this event and we were playing this game together. Because when you're in a long-distance relationship, Animal Crossing is like a must. You have to play it together. As I have learned in my extensive long-distance relationship experience, he got that villager in his Japanese copy of New Leaf that he got in Japan to do that event on his Japanese 3DS. And then I visited his campsite via Wi-Fi and got all these items. Okay, I have baskets of perfect fruit in here. The reason I hoard this is that to earn villagers' pictures, in Wild World, there was kind of a cheat way to do it, where if you sent, what I would do, it's almost a superstition, but what I would do is I would write the word friend and fill the entire letter and then put 100 bells in the letter. And if you sent them a certain number of letters that were like that, they would be instantly maxed out friendship-wise. Now, that's not a fun way to do that, but that is a way to guarantee that you can get their picture if it's someone you really like. New Leaf, I don't think that there's a way to cheese it like that. So what I do is I save perfect fruit to give them when they ask for a fruit, because that's one way to really boost your friendship with them very quickly, is to give them perfect fruit. Or rare customized furniture, things like that. I think I was starting to explain that it was exciting when I first got this game and I lived in Portland, because I would street pass people every single day on public transportation, and I would get their houses to show up in my street pass area. And then I could order stuff from their catalogs, which was great. But this would be from 2016, these houses, if I have any. And you could save your friends' houses, I think. Yeah, it's Vidit's house. I don't know, Vidit. Do you want me to show off your house or not? Vidit's always Mr. Moneybags in this game. I feel like the sleek set is very popular. Also, the Nintendo items are really popular. Everybody's got those. Look at all this gold! Wowee. I forgot you could have a basement too. Yeah, my house is mega not updated. It doesn't even have a basement. And the Halloween, the Jack stuff. Who else do I have here? It's Sarah B. Joe. Did you have to street pass people? I must have taken my 3DS to Worlds in 2016 in San Francisco. That's where I met Joe. Want to see Sarah B. Joe's Animal Crossing house? Is this exactly what you would imagine Sarah B. Joe's Animal Crossing house to look like? I feel like it is. Although I would expect more Nintendo stuff in the main room. Not that I know Joe that well, just his online persona. Okay, here's all the Nintendo stuff that I would expect. Oh my god, look at all of these. I wish you could have all of them turned on at once in this game. You can only have a certain number of them, I think. Just a basement, a dungeon full of gyroids. August 19th, 2016. Was that the date of Worlds? And here's virtual Marty's house. I'm gonna get out of my way. Marty, I want to see your house. That's cool. I'm glad I brought my 3DS to Worlds. Just have like a little time capsule of all this. That would explain my Vidits on my Street Pass too, because Vidit went with me to Worlds that year. I think that this is Maryland. I think Maryland is in here. This is from Worlds the previous year in Boston. Look, this is Maryland's house. That's so fun. I love Street Pass. I love that I have like a memento from meeting all these people that I only really got to see the one time at those big events. And now they're in my games forever. It was very similar to Vidit's house, isn't it? I like the pipe organ. It was so fun to finally meet Maryland because people often ask me if I was the first PokeTuber, but Maryland predates my channel by like a few months. So Maryland was technically the first PokeTuber, and Maryland's channel was more popular than mine back then. So when I met him, I told him like, you were always my rival, because I always wanted to catch up to Maryland in subscribers. Glitch. Is this Glitch City? From Traverse Town? She does like Kingdom Hearts. I had to ask her. This is her house. Well, it's a very empty little house. Oh, that was a nice little blast from the past. So, time traveling. In Wild World, when I was younger, I had a habit of starting new towns. So, obviously the town I showed you was not my very first Wild World town. And I experimented with starting new towns, sticking with one town, time traveling, not time traveling. And I kind of figured out that I prefer not to time travel. I don't judge anyone who does. I feel like this is a completely personal preference thing because it is possible to do. I think you're discouraged from doing it, but it's not impossible. The reason that I prefer not to time travel is because I like to have little amounts of progress to look forward to each day. I also like to have big events to look forward to on certain days of the week, and part of this is probably because I didn't have a big social life outside of this game when I was younger. So I didn't have parties to look forward to. What I did have to look forward to was KK Slider coming on Friday night or Saturday night. I actually don't remember right now. Getting a new air check for my boombox in my house. All of my towns that I'm showing you in this video were not achieved through time traveling. So I definitely did get the GameCube Animal Crossing game next. However, I got it again in the period of time when I was still mainly playing Wild World. So I didn't get into the GameCube game until after New Horizons. We're going to do New Horizons next, which is the most recent Animal Crossing game. Now, I think New Horizons played a role in many people's lives that Wild World did in mine. It came out at the beginning of a global pandemic, so when seeing your friends and your family in person was impossible for almost everyone, because we were all quarantining, it sort of became a virtual community space to replace the one that we could not access in person at that time. In my single essay about Animal Crossing, I do actually have some regrets about how harsh I was on New Horizons. I feel like maybe some context would help explain why it was so disappointing to me that villagers have become so background to the gameplay of Animal Crossing. Aside from the fact that Animal Crossing was so important to me when I was younger, I always imagined after Wild World that from there on out, villagers would just continue to evolve and become more unique and have more dimension. That there would be different hobbies they could have, that individual villagers, maybe this different species, would have another layer of personality on top of the different categories and the hobbies, that it would just continue to become more complex, and that each villager would be more and more distinct, to the point where almost each individual villager would be like its own unique character. So I was very disappointed when in New Leaf, they seemed to be going the opposite direction, and villagers were less complex. They did add 2 new personality types, but they got rid of the hobby system, and that really bummed me out. And New Horizons was really the nail in the coffin. They're never going to bring villagers back and have them be as big a part of the game as they used to be. And I do stand by most of what I said in that video about the game, but I regret the conclusion that I drew about it at the end. I believe that I was correct in that they did eventually release a new series of amiibo cards to capitalize on the popularity of New Horizons, but I think that the Nook Miles and the gacha way that you get new villagers is sort of more of a dark pattern thing. I wanted to recap what I'm referring to here really quickly. In the New Leaf Welcome to Amiibo update, they introduced cat coupons, which were coupons that you could earn by doing daily tasks found in the new coupon kiosk. You could then use these coupons in the new RVs and order furniture from the catalogs of these RVs that only used this new currency. There were non-Amiibo RVs that had some unique furniture, but they appeared randomly each day. Instead, you could scan purchased amiibos or amiibo cards to get the specific RVs with the items you wanted in them when you wanted them. This system was introduced with the amiibo specific update to the game, so it was designed to allow you to get more specific items faster if you just purchased the amiibo of the character that you wanted to show up or bought packs of amiibo RV cards to get exclusive new furniture. Basically, it introduced microtransactions to a game that previously didn't have them. You could interact with the new features without buying amiibos, but you would be limited to waiting around for something good to show up, and your pool of RVs was smaller. In New Horizons, the Nook Miles system is very similar. On your phone, there's a Nook Miles app where you could do daily tasks to earn Nook Miles, like catching a specific fish for 200 to 500 miles, or growing a fruit tree for 100 miles. You could then convert these miles into Nook Miles tickets by purchasing a ticket in the kiosk in the town hall for 2,000 miles. Then for each ticket, you could go to a random island with a random villager on it that you could then ask to move to your town. During the height of the New Horizons mania, these tickets are one of the most valuable items to leverage in trades because you always needed more chances to go to more islands if you were looking for a specific villager to appear. If you really wanted Bluebear, for example, you would need to spend dozens of these tickets to visit dozens of islands to try to find one where Bluebear shows up. Or you could scan her amiibo card to get her to instantly appear in your campsite. It would take a month to save up enough Nook Miles to buy enough Nook Miles tickets to give you enough chances to re-roll a random island to even hope to find a villager you wanted. At the time that New Horizons came out, amiibo cards were out of print, but within a year of release, the cards were being reprinted, and a Series 5 of amiibo cards that added exclusive New Horizons villagers like Raymond was released in 2021, a year later. It's impossible to say how COVID impacted the timeline of when the cards were ready to release, since everything was shut down. I had some people argue that this was a ridiculous connection to make because the cards were not available when the game was brand new. But given that this system originated in the amiibo-specific update in New Leaf, I think it's not a stretch at all to say that the intended goal was to get you to spend money on packs of cards to get the villager you want. In my essay about how New Horizons handles villagers, I compared the system to a gacha game, where you spend real money to try to randomly get a character you wanted out of a pool. However, I think this isn't actually one-to-one with gacha mechanics. The point where you spend the money is essentially the same, since the card packs are random and you would need to buy multiple packs to get all the characters you want. However, the in-game function once you already have the card is that you essentially get to fully skip the random grind with Nook Miles tickets altogether, making it a pay-to-win mechanic. In my essay, I argued that the characters were dumbed down to make their appearance more important so that you would want some villagers more than others, versus before where there were more dimensions to villagers and each had equal potential to be interesting and contribute to your town, which is why it's so frustrating that the reason they were dumbed down was to make them more collectible. I think basically since City Folk, Nintendo has been reducing the role of villagers in your game in order to sell stuff, whether it's a We Speak headset or amiibo cards, and that just makes me really sad. So I did not find out about dark patterns until I saw a Lee Speaks video in which she discusses the way that they're used in online games. And although New Horizons is not a mobile game in the sense that it's not like a phone game with microtransactions necessarily, I mean outside of the amiibo cards, it does have some of these dark patterns that are little psychological tricks to get you to play the game longer and to keep you coming back. I feel like almost every video game has this to some extent because developers do want you to play longer to make it even worth developing games. If you just finish every game you buy within 3 days of buying it, that makes the work that went into developing the game more disposable, right? So I think that almost every game, including Pokemon, including Animal Crossing, has some sort of psychological incentive to continue playing. It's hard for me to nail down exactly which one of these this is right this second, but I feel like pay to skip kind of works because with the amiibo cards that they did release to the villagers, you can pay to skip the work of saving up the Nook Mile tickets and going to the islands and grinding out to try and get the villager that you want. Or perhaps is more pay to win. I mean, this is like the definition of pay to win, right? The extent to which this is implemented cynically in games varies, but I think that the idea that it was maybe financially motivated to phase out villagers really bothered me because of how important villagers were to me when I was younger. Now, I think I was a little bit off the mark in assuming it was a direct one-to-one with like gacha systems, but I think there are some similarities. And I think what really bothers me about the way that I talked about it in that video is that I focused a lot on who I thought that the gacha was designed for, as if they were to blame for it, which is not something I actually believe. I don't believe that the players are to blame for the systems that are designed to exploit them. I really shouldn't have focused at all on who it was made for, because I think to an extent, all games that have systems like this kind of fall into the same pitfalls, regardless of who the audience is. So that has always kind of bothered me, that I really like that essay that I made almost 90%, but I really don't like the last 10% of the video. And it's one of the most popular videos I have made in the last 5 years. But that's how it always goes. I always end up regretting something, especially the more popular a video is. Anyway, I hope that made sense. I just kind of wanted to revisit that before I dove back into New Horizons, since I actually haven't played it really since then. Like everyone else, I played it a lot during the pandemic. I really did enjoy it, even though I was harsh on it and even though I was disappointed. I think the multiplayer aspects of New Horizons are really great. I thought that the collaborative way that you worked together to get new recipes, the fact that it was so heavily adopted by everyone was really remarkable. And I think that I would have fun if I went back to it and like decided to redo my island now. But it would not be as fun or hold me as long as if I had made a new Wild World or GameCube town. But they've actually updated the game quite a bit since I last played, so there's probably a ton of content in the game that I have never seen. So I think New Horizons really helped people with their loneliness still, even though villagers are so background in this game compared to older Animal Crossings. Alright, let's boot up my island. I don't think that I should expect anyone to move, but I have actually never returned to this game after taking an extended break like I have with other Animal Crossings, so I don't fully know what to expect. My switch time is apparently not correct. That's way wrong. That's the wrong month and the wrong hour. So this is a new feature, ordinances. I think if I was going to come back to this game... Oh man, my hair. It fixed it. I probably wouldn't want to start a new island because the intro to this game, like starting the first week or so of this game and setting up all of your stuff takes so long. I think when I stopped playing, I had just barely unlocked everything. So if I were to pick it back up again and redesign my island, I would probably just want to like redo the existing island. This is my house, like many people's. It is in a little like canyon surrounded by beautiful things and waterfalls, and I think the interior of my house is actually my favorite. Oh, it's full of roaches though. My favorite thing I designed in this game because I think it's very cute. This is what I want my house to look like in real life. Very chill. There's a lot of plants. Oh, someone is coming to visit. It's Gigi. So that was my living room. This is my bedroom. It's also extremely cute. It's been 4 years and I have not spent as much time in New Horizons as I have in New Leaf or Wild World, so it's hard to remember how this game works. This used to be my kitchen, but this is now my, what do you call this, fortune-telling room? My seance room. I think Gigi is dressed as a nurse. Here's another bedroom, a guest bedroom. It's also extremely cute. Also would love for my house to look like this in real life. I think my downstairs and upstairs are like completely works in progress though. I barely talk to you, but goodbye Gigi. Looks like I have Julian's picture and Lolly's picture. Let's check downstairs first. Not sure what's downstairs. Don't remember. Okay, so this looks like it was going to be some kind of a spa. It's definitely not finished, and I don't know why. I guess it's like the equivalent of a bathroom. Oh, and up here is like a music room. This was fun when I would have people from my Discord server come visit my island. We would all just jam out in here on these instruments. And that's my house. It's quite difficult, I think, to collect furniture in this version because it's very expensive. There's not that much of it. You have to go to other islands to get stuff in different colors. Looks like I have a little path here. I know that I have, technically, according to Isabel, too many trees. I wanted, basically what I was going for was kind of like a woodsy, celestial aesthetic witch that lives in a magic forest. Getting Joy-Con drift. Okay, here we go. Here's my different outfits. So this is my dangerous woman outfit. This is my white mage outfit. Yeah, that's like the witch that lives in this forest. This is based on Chisato Moritaka. This is my magical girl outfit, pastel outfit. This is basically like a prototype of the outfit that Megan Thee Stallion wears in her Boa song. This is the egg outfit. Oh, that's right. So Chaz made his island based on an Oni. So this is the outfit that I wear when I visit his island. So I guess I'll be the mage so I can show it off. And then I believe I need my little pole to get across here to this fountain, which is at the center of my town. I found it, my map. So the point of that area with the fountain is that on the map, it is shaped like an egg. So that is my egg island. I believe we can keep going a different direction from here. Yes, this way. So to get into my town hall, you have to climb up and down the ladder this way. I kind of hate this, honestly. And I think if I did it over, I wouldn't design it this way. But there's a nice little lookout here. You can just look at the stars. And then over here is my shop, Nook's Cranny. I guess I didn't update it all the way. I don't remember how many updates there are. And Butch is here. Butch, who was in my video. I put him in my town specifically for the video. I don't even remember who I made move out. So this is the path to this area. And then you take this path over to this house. Whose house is this? This is Bam's house. Okay. I think I'm gonna go up this way, actually. So you'll notice I have a lot of stars sitting around, and that is something that took me a really long time because I could never ever get the shooting star recipes from Celeste. So I would always have to go to Jana's town because she got Celeste way more often. Here's my little moon-shaped pond. This is where I used to drop recipes for other people to pick up when they came to visit. Okay, Gulliver is here. We'll just leave Gulliver there for now. So this is Gigi's house. We've already seen Gigi. My beaches are pretty bare. And this is a chicken's house. What's his name? Which chicken is this? It's Ken. Gold armor shoes. Yes, I apparently already know. Shy, shy, shy. Blast from the past. I was really into twice. So this is my well and another waterfall. This doesn't look as bad as I remember it. I remember my whole town looking super bad. Someone is currently visiting. I guess we could check and see who it is. You need a ladder to get around a lot of places though in my town. Who the heck are you? It's Blanche. Actually, if I remember right, there's like a secret way around the back here to a secret area. Apparently I have a mermaid bed and a fountain over there. This, you know, in hindsight, this xylophone doesn't really belong here, but this is like my little lookout spot for my dark academia hangouts. Yes, there is a secret beach back here. They built a way to get down here because this is where Red visits, is over here. And I put all the hybrids that I don't want back here, apparently. Another moon-shaped pool. This one's slightly bigger. Here's my museum. So in this game, I really didn't do very much with my museum. I didn't donate stuff. I didn't catch a lot of stuff. I just found the complication of needing to continuously make new tools in order to grind fishing just like way too tedious. And so I didn't really bother compared to previous Animal Crossing games where that was one of my favorite things to do. And it's not like I dislike grinding in Animal Crossing because I typically do take it really slow, don't time travel, do things, you know, a day at a time. I just don't like needing to pointlessly collect stuff to make fishing rods over and over. It's Fang! Now, Fang has come out. Diana lives next to him, I believe. There's some things that I tried to do here that just, I feel like don't look very good. I wanted this to like look cooler, but it just doesn't look that good. This is Ruby's house. No, it's Aurora's house. And this should be Filbert over here. Yes, Filbert is still here. I tried to go for a lunar theme with my villagers. So we've got the wolf howling at the moon. We've got Diana, who is the name of the Roman goddess of the moon. That's a tarantula. We've got Filbert, whose house is full of moons and stars. We've got Ken, who's just blue. I think that's the extent of that. Butch was literally only here for the video. We have Aurora, whose house is like the Aurora Borealis. I believe actually this way is, this is weird. I think I actually just made this little area just to demonstrate the building features for the video, because otherwise I don't know why I built this. It's really ugly. In real life it's actually 8 p.m. currently, but my Switch clock is wrong. This should be Ruby. No, that's Butch. Okay. So Butch took the place of Ruby, who I need to scan in and put back there. This is my little hybrid farm down here, where I was growing some of my hybrids. Ruby is like a little moon rabbit, and Double Edged Cat sent me the amiibo card for her just so that I could scan her in and put her in my town because I wanted to. I believe up here is Muffy. She's like a goth sheep. She also kind of suits the vibe I was going for here. And then down here is the little area how you get into my town. But over here, you actually have to hop across, I think, to get to Julian's house, who's my unicorn. And he's got his little private beach. So yeah, I think that there's some things that I would like to change or redo. I kind of don't feel like the space is used that well, and there's probably billions more items that exist now than used to, so I could probably make this very different. Also, Isabel hates it. She won't give me a perfect town rating because I have too many trees. Would you believe it? But I wanted it to be really densely wooded because it's supposed to be a forest. It's supposed to be animal forest. Do I have any custom designs? Okay, so these are the designs that are all over my Shutterstock. I must have been using like an online converter. This person was smart and they actually like put their web address in the title of their pattern, which makes it very easy to know who made it. It looks like I only have like a handful of flows. This is, so these two are the ones that I made for New Leaf. This is one I downloaded. So my Critterpedia. I don't have very much of any of this, as you can see. Just didn't have the patience for it in this game. I really hate diving, by the way. In New Leaf, I've completed the diving thing, but I hate diving. It's my least favorite thing. I think that's probably good. I have much more to say about GameCube Crossing because I like it more. So when I last played this game, that update where you can design your villagers' houses didn't exist, so I think there's nothing to show. There's really not very much going on in my town. It's kind of just like a boring dollhouse where nothing happens. Let's move on. The next two towns are City Folk, GameCube. City Folk, I'm probably just not going to show you. I literally only made the City Folk town for that video. There's absolutely nothing else going on that's worth showing you in that town, except I think the only thing that's interesting about my City Folk town is I was working on that video across spring and early summer of 2020. My birthday is on May 29th, and it was the pandemic, so I couldn't really have, like, you know, a party or anything. I mostly celebrated my birthday that year through Animal Crossing. Around that time also was a meme going around where you found a villager who shared your birthday. And it just so happens that the villager that shares my birthday is Pearl. And Pearl's name in Japanese is Tama. And Pearl's birthday is my birthday, which is a complete coincidence. Animal Crossing predates my username. So Pearl, I think, did exist because she's in the GameCube version, but I did not know about her. She wasn't in any of my Animal Crossing towns. Did not inspire my username. So for my birthday that year, I was going to play City Folk and make a City Folk town. What I did is I reset City Folk until I got Pearl so that I would get her in my town on my birthday. So that is the only notable thing about my city folk town, is that Pearl is in it, and I created it on both of our birthdays. It's Tama and Tama, birthday twins. Okay, it is GameCube crossing time. So my town is called Lost Egg. I made it in 2020. Just after New Horizons came out, and I had so much fun going back to it. When I was younger, I had tried to make a town in this game, but there's a feature. There are all of these codes that you can put in to get any item you want, basically. You type a code into the letter and mail it off, and the game will give you an item corresponding to that code. So I could not resist the temptation when I was younger to use that to get all the furniture I wanted. But I think what's really fun about GameCube Animal Crossing is that it's hard to earn furniture. It's hard to get stuff, which makes you want to keep doing the tasks for your villagers and gives you a lot more to do so that you can get basic things like a bed. And it gives you kind of that community feel. My flowers didn't die! I'm going to unequip my shovel because I don't trust myself with the controls right now. So Sunnyside is my other town. Oh, you sent me a birthday gift even though I wasn't here. That breaks my heart. I abandoned them and they remembered me. Oh, Static! Oh my god, that's so sweet. This is why I love this game. Okay, here's my house. It's full of roaches, but it's actually super impressive. It's super impressive because it's so hard to get stuff in this game. So, here's my bed. I have a bed. I have a lot of classic furniture. I have a retro TV and 2 NES games. I have got a classic couch. I have so many plants. I have so many plants. My house is like a big plant. And it's funny because there's so little storage in this game that your basement is like really a basement full of junk. And turnips, are they all rotted? They should be rotted. Yeah, they're all spoiled. Yeah, I think I must have stopped playing this pretty abruptly last time because I had bought turnips with the plan of selling them, so that's just money down the drain right there. My basement is like a real basement. It's got vending machines, it's got like an old sofa, it's got a bunch of tools, tickets, a slot machine, some old chairs, and more NES games. Oh, and my journal! Guys, we can read my journal entries. Oh no, I don't think we can go back far enough. Wait, okay, hang on. Nook was buying turnips for 872 bells today. I originally invested 90k yesterday, so now I'm a millionaire. I tried and failed to catch an Aripama yesterday. Maybe this evening will be better. That was my last July entry from 4 years ago. I waited too long. I can't give it to my old entries now. I'm disappointed. Anyway, my house is fabulous and it took me forever to make it this nice. This is my second floor, which is like a pink, lovely meadow with teddy bears. I can hardly walk in my house. It's so full of stuff. It's extremely impressive. You're very impressed. And Chas has a house too. We can show you. His house has a lot of gyroids in it. He's got like a little throne room in his basement with more gyroids and a refrigerator. And his upstairs. I think this wallpaper and floor are rare. I think they're really hard to get. So that's Chaz's house. Chaz played with me. It was very fun to play together. Chaz and I have very infrequently overlapping taste in games, so it's fun when he can get into something that I also like. Okay, so I'm gonna start showing you around. First of all, I have so many flowers, and I have a statue erected in my honor, obviously. I don't want to weed this whole town, but I feel like it's my duty to weed it a little bit. GameCube towns are huge. This is my town. Axel and Pee-wee live here. Bangle and Goldie still live there. Robin is still there. Valise is there. Static is there. Anchovy. So Tiara is still there. Bob is still there. Leopold, Lulu. Dina, Eunice, and Dottie. Okay. I vaguely remember all of these. This is my anti-goose sign, because the Untitled Goose game had just come out when we were last playing. It's nice that your flowers don't wilt in this when you don't play. I guess you can't water them, so that makes sense. It's Axel! 48 months! Yes, I don't want this bottle rocket. Please give me another plant. Good old Axel. Here's a golden tree. It takes a really long time to plant flowers in this game because you can only buy them from nooks. Like in other games, villagers will plant flowers or you can go to an island and get flowers. But in this game, you can only buy the flowers at nooks. So I used to go between my 2 memory cards and buy all the flowers. So a lot of people don't like grumpy villagers or cranky or mean villagers and are glad that they're not in the game anymore. Like when people complain that villagers aren't mean anymore, people are like, so you want to be abused? But it's not that I want to be abused. It's that a majority of the gameplay in Animal Crossing is emergent storytelling, right? It's the stories of you interacting with people in your town and how they interact with each other and the funny things that they do and say. And without conflict, storytelling can get really boring. Conflict is like one of the key ingredients in a good story sometimes. Not only that, but I feel like as humans in our social groups, we actually need villains, which is an odd thing to think, but we all have things that make us angry throughout our lives. Like at our job, where your boss is telling you to do something really stupid or in a dumb way that makes everything harder, but you can't be mad at your boss to his face, right? Or her face, or their face. So what do? You just bottle up all your anger, right? And then we go online and we pick some dumb idiot on Twitter to be our villain. But we don't need to pick each other to be our villains arbitrarily. We can have cranky villagers do it. They're doing a public service by being so unlikable, because now we have an appropriate target to vent all of our anger and frustrations from our daily lives. I think people like to be angry at a villain. I think it's fun to be righteously angry too, like if someone is just a giant jerk. And also think about Iguchi and what he said about wanting to recreate the feeling of getting off a train in a new town where you don't know anyone. I feel like part of experiencing that is being an outsider. And it doesn't really feel like you're an outsider if everyone is just really nice to you right away. I think having some social friction can help create a contrast between when you first show up and you don't know anyone and everyone's kind of mean, to when you get to know them and they're your friends and they send you birthday presents even when you're not playing. I almost wanted to write an entire essay about that idea. Let me know if that would be entertaining. I could like find some psychological statistics. It's Goldie! Goldie's asleep, standing up outside. Letting the days go by. So I have a few different types of fruit trees. It's actually also really hard to get other fruit in this game. Very rarely it will come as gifts from other villagers for doing them favors. Oh no, I planted it too high up. There's really nothing I can do about that now. This game is just so fun. You sit down to just show off your town and the next thing you know you're just playing it because it's just so fun to keep playing it. Let's visit. What's her name? Starts with a V? She's got all these paintings. I want her paintings. Valleys. Also, I think that sometimes their meaner dialogue is just really funny. So I wasn't satisfied with just having the one town. I made Sunnyside as well, which has 2 dummy characters, Tater and Tot, and a whole bunch more villagers. But it was useful to have more than one town a day. Sometimes villagers will ask you to do them a favor that involves traveling somewhere, and that's really hard to accomplish without having more than one memory card. So I have 2 memory cards with 2 towns on it. And that's a lot of real estate in terms of like memory card blocks to commit to this game. But for me, it's worth it. This is just such a good game. I think I'm gonna take this. Static! I think Static is my favorite villager in this town. Static was the one that came to greet me on my birthday and gave me a birthday cake. He's always super mean to me, but I love him. Good old Static. Let me weed your acre, Static. You deserve it. I think if you haven't tried this game or you haven't tried Wild World and you like Animal Crossing, you definitely should. They're the 2 best, and they really provide a social simulation experience that the new games just do not. What's my town tune? It's twice. Like, ooh ah, ooh ah. Okay, so I think we've seen the majority of the upper acres now. And here is... He's got a weird house. Do you have a problem, Anchovy? Now there's like 3 villagers in this acre right now. That's a lot for 1 acre. I remember Lulu now. Lulu the hippo. So this is the fountain where events happen. Looks like I was planting flowers all around it. Okay, so for future reference, if I start playing every day again, I would probably want to plant more flowers this way so that I can really cover it. Damn, what happened to Axel? Oh, they just had an argument. Shall we check my museum? I know that I don't have everything in this game because it's actually really hard to fish in this game and I'm super bad at it. I got most of the fish for the summer, but there was some giant fish that I failed to get, I think in August of 2020, and that's where I really fell off. So I felt bad that I didn't get everything and that I would have to wait a whole year to try again. But now it's been several years, so I can just pick up wherever. Yeah, I'm missing a lot of stuff still. I think I'm also missing a lot of fossils, possibly. Let's see. We'll just check. Okay. I might have all the fossils, because there's just not that many compared to other Animal Crossing games. Yeah, I do have all the fossils, so I'm not missing any fossils, so I can sell the ones I have or put them on my other memory card. I'm missing quite a few paintings, though. But weirdly, I'm not missing as many as I am in Wild World. I'm missing more in Wild World than I am here. Guess it just goes to show how into this game I got in 2020. But you know, I was lonely when I played Wild World as a kid. It's Bob's house! And I was a little lonely during the pandemic, but it wasn't like the loneliest I've ever been. So I feel like I weathered it pretty well. And just going back to Animal Crossing, like I used to, was part of how I did that. Oh, it's Bob! I love you, Bob! So good to see all my villagers again. And I'm gonna get totally addicted to this game again just from booting it up for this video. Alright, Bob, you got me. Mid-March, I'm going to guess, is the Cherry Festival. I'm wrong! April. I am ignorant. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like that the villagers in this game don't feel like they exist to just give you stuff. You know? They have personalities and tempers and feelings. They have their own emotions. They react to things that you do well or do badly. It makes them feel like real. I literally just want to keep playing this, and that's the only reason I'm still recording. You know, I don't typically like remasters, but I would be down if they remastered Wild World. because it does look really crunchy since it's a original DS game. And I would like more people to get to play it, because it's so much better than all the modern Animal Crossing games. Which is also why I think they wouldn't remaster it, because they don't want people to know that. It's Dottie! Hello! I have so many Peppies in my town. Apparently I had never talked to Dottie before. She must have moved in while I was gone. Look at her looking up like that at the mosquito. It's cute. Gulliver is here in this town too! Gulliver, it's okay. It's gonna be okay, buddy. Thanks. What did you give me? A Matryoshka. He gave me a Russian doll. I just wanted to explain how there's not a lot of aesthetic control you have in Animal Crossing GameCube, but there is a little bit you can do to make it interesting. So in my town, I have planted all of my fruit trees in kind of a checkerboard pattern. So this top rightmost acre has no fruit trees in it, but the adjacent acre on the left side has pear trees in it, and then the following acre has no fruit trees in it, but then the next acre after that has apples. So I alternated them like this, and each acre is its own type of fruit in kind of a checkerboard pattern all the way down to the beach. You'll also notice that I have lots of gold trees everywhere. That's why there were so many shovels in my basement. Whenever I get the opportunity to plant a golden shovel tree, I do, because I want to have as many gold trees as possible. As you can see, I have switched off fruit all the way down to the second row of acres, and then when I run out of different types of fruit, I just repeat them. In the northern acres, I still have pine trees. I didn't cut down the pine trees to make it uniform. I left them as is, because they can only grow in northern acres. As you can see, I also like to line landmarks in flowers. So I have covered each cliffside in flowers, and many of the houses have flowers around them. And then on the southmost acres, the acres that are normally non-fruit trees are replaced with coconut trees, because they can only grow on the acres that are closest to the water. Animal Crossing GameCube doesn't give you a lot of control over where you can grow things, so it's not easy to do anything creative with your town layout, but this is like the best I came up with to make it kind of a unique town while still letting the forest do its thing and kill all of my trees when I plant them. Want to see my patterns? It's quite difficult to make good patterns on the GameCube, but I feel like I've done a pretty good job. So that's a shirt I made. Pastel heart. Weird chevron. Made that one, and this watermelon one I made. And then I think I made all of these too. Yeah. So there's the design that's on my door, is that circular moon and star that makes it look like it's light shining through a little window. Weird chevron, and there's my no goose sun. And weird galaxy. It's quite difficult to make patterns on the GameCube, but I think I did a good job. So the last thing I want to do is visit my island, so I need to go get my link cable. There he is, there's Captain. Let's visit the island. Omu Island. You don't give a squid. So this is my little island. Each GameCube game comes with an island that you can access by plugging in a Game Boy Advance to your GameCube. Omu Island, and this is my fried egg flag. Faith is the villager that we have on here. We didn't always. We used to have Roland, I think, the tiger, but I traded it from my other memory card. I traded Faith over to this island, and Roland got deleted. So now we just have Faith. So this is my cabin. I think it's pretty cute. So I wanted to explain this because I briefly mentioned it. This is what I did the first time I played Animal Crossing GameCube. There are these codes built into the game. Now, I think I said earlier that they were specific to the e-reader, but that's not the case. Let me read this explanation of the item codes from the Animal Crossing wiki. In Tom Nook's store in Animal Crossing, the player can choose to ask for and say passwords for items. This was meant as a way to share and send items if the player and their friend couldn't meet each other in person. However, the codes were released online and became an easy way to get rare items such as golden tools, gyroids, and even fish and bugs. Players are only able to tell codes up to 3 times a day, but can say the same code more than once if they want. Below is a list of passwords for most but not all items in Animal Crossing. List of codes existed even back when I first got this game. In my younger years, it was impossible to resist the temptation to just get all of the furniture I wanted immediately. But the game is much more fun if you do not do it this way. I think it's really fun to earn everything really slowly. I did use some codes from the e-reader cards that I do actually own, because I have a handful of Animal Crossing e-reader cards, which also have codes like this that you put into a letter and mail out, and then it'll give you the item corresponding to that e-reader card. And I think I actually have legitimately traded items over the internet using these codes. But restraint is your friend in Animal Crossing GameCube. It's more fun to do it the hard way, I think. I mean, we're not going to tell you what to do in your free time. If you want to do it this way. But I had more fun when I took it day by day and slowly accumulated everything that I have. So that's it for my Animal Crossing town tours. If you want more long-form content like this, I have another Patreon exclusive bonus video that I recorded this month. I go through all of my Pokemon trading card game collection and tell stories about it. That bonus video is over an hour long, so it's a good watch if you want some company while you do something kind of boring or lonely. I really love Animal Crossing, and I'm happy that I was able to talk about it again today because I haven't made very many videos about it in the past. Today's show and tell item, while I ask you all to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications, is my original Wild World Bunny plush. Bunny wasn't in any of the towns I just showed you, but is one of my favorite villagers. Is an official English language Wild World Bunny plush, and she does talk. I think I have to change the battery. It's like a CR32 in there. Just gotta unvelcro the back. And she's not very big, but I have a bigger bunny plush, and I would have a Mitzi plush if Nintendo made more of them. So Nintendo, you're really just leaving money on the table by not merchandising Mitzi more. So I would. You know I would.